ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Unofficial Referees. I am one of the three-headed monster tonight. Y'all know me as Lauren Jones, but y'all can just call me Mr. Jones tonight.
Mr. Jones.
Heavy on the Mr. Please.
Mr. Please, Mr. Please.
Randy, Corey, go ahead and sound out. Let them know you're in the building tonight.
What's good, everybody? It's your boy Randy Anderson here with another episode of the Unofficial Referees. Man, we throwing flags all night long. Yeah, man, I'm here.
It's your boy Antonio Brown. I'm Steve. Little Banks.
Yeah, you ready for your first day of school?
Yeah, man.
Man, I ain't want to do it, but he didn't make me go there. I just saw that come across. I just saw that in my news feed, man. Anyway, let's get to it, man. Another week three getting ready to wrap up. I mean, you might as well say it's wrapped up unless Washington decides to do a Buffalo Bills comeback.
Motherfucker.
But yeah, man, let's just go down the list, man. Let's start with Thursday's game. The Jaguars went ahead and put it on Tennessee. What a weird AFC South this year. I mean, of course, it started out with Andrew Luck retiring. Tennessee spanked Cleveland the first week and have looked subpar since then. Jacksonville has been inconsistent. Obviously they played the Chiefs and lost, but here they come and beat Tennessee. Of course, they still do have a solid defense, so I won't take anything away from them. Jacoby Brisket got them boys in Indianapolis playing
looking
strong. Houston is looking. They just looking average, man. And
Man.
I'm gonna tell you what I've been saying for the last 3 years. Bill O'Brien needs to go. He's the problem. He's the problem. Not the other problem is they don't have any leadership. They don't have a general manager right now. So Bill O'Brien is running the team, which I mean he can't even coach the team. So I don't know why they think that they should give him more responsibility. But the AFC South is. I mean, I knew it was gonna be different this year, but this is just different. Of course, Jalen Ramsey called in sick today. I mean,
So what looks wrong with Houston? Because I haven't really seen. I know we get Houston Texas games down here. They played yesterday. Luckily, man, with the Chiefs playing well, those get broadcasted down here. But they had the late game in San Diego. The Texans had the late game in San Diego, so I had to work, so I wasn't able to see. But from the look at it, I'll let you go after I say, man. From the look at it, I mean they're handling business. They lost by 2 points. It took Drew Brees pulling out the victory in week 1 to take them out. Deshaun Watson's been playing well. They barely won, but they eased out a win against Jacksonville. Jacksonville still got that defense.
Yeah.
And then I mean going on the road and taking out Phillip Rivers in Los Angeles. I said San Diego at first, but yeah, going on the road and taking out Phillip Rivers in Los Angeles, man. Los Angeles has been marred by injuries, but I mean they got a few of their guys back. I think that's something that's not nothing to sneeze at.
It goes back to the age-old problem that they've had for the last 2-3 years. I mean, the offensive line it's just terrible.
Yep.
Yeah,
It's just terrible. Watson is doing. I mean, it's amazing what Deshaun Watson has been able to do in this league with that offensive line. That offensive line terrible. Last season he got sacked 62 times.
yeah.
And you would know that by the stats he put up. I mean, he put up amazing stats. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, as an all-pro wide receiver in Hopkins, yeah, man, it's just the offensive line, man. They refuse to address it. And part of that, I tell you, part of the reason that they refuse to address it is because of Deshaun Watson and the skill set. They rely on the fact that he's able to escape as much trouble as he has. But I mean, 62 times on your back, man. That's just sacks. We're not talking about pressures, knockdowns, any of that. We're just talking about straight sacks. That's a recipe for disaster. He won't have a long career like that. And if he's scrambling for his life, I mean, he's risking all kind of things. Getting, anywhere from an ACL tear just from the wear and tear he's already had. Matter of fact, I think he's already torn his ACL twice.
Yeah,
twice. One in college and one in the. No, actually, it was one in high school, and then once in the NFL. So, yeah, man. I mean, they better do something about that. Otherwise, it's gonna cost him his. I won't say his career. He'll have a shorter career as a result. He's already had a great career, all things considered. Well, I won't say great. He's excelled in the league thus far. I won't say he's had a great career. He's excelled in the league thus far. But yeah, who knows what that is? It's obviously up for grabs. Nobody wants to claim the title in the South. Nope. You got the mustache out there doing this thing in Jacksonville. Minshew,
the real Florida man.
Poor stash.
Right. Ron Jeremy Jr.
Yeah, man, that shit look crazy out there, man.
Sure, what we have for the early game, let's see, we had the Packers. The Packers look like the real deal on defense.
Yeah, offense is a little
they beat the Broncos. Yeah, but, it's going to work in progress. I think Aaron Rodgers is trying to dial back and trust the system some. But, yesterday he had a vintage Aaron Rodgers where, guy jumped off sides, free play, touchdown. Boom, right there. That's vintage Rodgers. The Broncos, I'm a little confused about the expectation level for Denver. I didn't have a high expectation level for Denver, even with them getting Joe Flacco. I didn't have a high expectation. Now, what is surprising is that in 3 games they have 0 sacks. And that's with Von Miller and Bradley Chubb on the squad. So that's probably the biggest surprise to me is that they don't have any sacks. They have a goose egg through 3 weeks.
I'll be honest with you. Playing Madden 20, I got drafted by that trash ass team, and the first season I got sacked 67 times.
At you or Denver?
Yeah, I was Denver's quarterback. They drafted me. Got sacked 67 times. I was like, all right, this is about to happen in real life. It could happen that same amount.
They didn't give you vintage Johnny Elway as your quarterback.
That is stupid, man. I still got 19, man. They fucking sack Derek Carr about 100 times a year on there. I think I had about 110 one. That's bad and stupid as hell. That shit so unrealistic.
I do want to run back real quick to the Packers. Yeah. So Devontae Adams, man, what is going on with Devontae Adams?
Like, what's wrong with him?
I haven't seen really. I'm not gonna say I haven't seen a lot of production, but he hasn't been putting up the numbers that he's put up the last couple years.
I think last year he did start off a little slow as well. I think part of it is the new offense. I think the other part is, as the marquee receiver on the team, you're getting a double
coverage, right?
So I think that I think this part, like I said, I think part of it is the new offense. I think the other part is, as the best receiver, you get in defense's best. So I think it's a culmination. But, I don't think he's played bad. I know something was going on last week because I know he was questionable up until game time, and they said it was a personal matter. I'm sure he probably had something going on in his family or something like that. Ain't my business, but it was something going on. But he still had I think he had 5 catches yesterday for I think 80 yards. So it's not a shabby day. It's probably not a Devontae Adams type of day. But and you get a lot of wide receivers in the league that'll take 5 for 80 on Sunday. Yeah, we'll see. We'll kind of see how the season progresses as the offense progresses. But the defense is the story this year. I'm saying thus far. The defense is definitely, This may be Aaron Rodgers' best defense that he's ever had.
I will second that.
So
I'll definitely second that.
So we'll see how it progresses. They're getting a lot of pressure. The secondary is playing solid, so we'll see what happens. I think this is be a team to watch this year, just to kind of see.
We jumping the gun on defense. They done had some good defenses now.
The last couple years?
I'm not saying they haven't had. I'm not saying they haven't had good ones, but I think this maybe. I'm not saying they haven't had good ones. Now they haven't in the last couple years, but I think this might. I am jumping the gun a little bit, and that's why I said we'll see how the season progresses.
Yeah, we got to see because they got who they taking out. Minnesota. That's a good win, but you're talking about Kirk Cousins is always up and down.
Yeah.
Trubisky.
Trubisky.
This shit.
Mitchell Trubisky.
Yeah,
Mr. T.
Yeah. Then talking about Joe Falco. So they haven't really been tested yet.
Yeah.
If you say so, Minnesota has a solid offense. Now granted, I know they gave up 100 yards to Dalvin Cook.
Yeah.
But Dalvin Cook is healthy, and he's a monster when he's healthy.
Mm-hmm. Matter of fact, while we're talking about Minnesota, shout out to the listeners in Minnesota, man. Shout out to everybody in Minnesota. Shout out to everybody in Oregon. Shout out to everybody in Illinois and Missouri. So, yeah.
Okay.
Quick little shouts out.
Yes, sir. So, let's talk about...
Uh-oh. He said,
Let's talk about a couple of the noon games. So the first one I want to talk about is the Buffalo Bills, actually, who are a surprising 3-0. Every game has been ugly. Week 1 they had to come all the way back against the Jets, but it is the Jets. Last week they had a lead. Bengals came back. They took it back in the last couple minutes of the game. So
cost me my lead. Cost me my week.
Definitely a surprising, I think, 3-0 team. I wouldn't by any stretch of the imagination call them contenders.
Not at all.
Pretenders. There we go.
I'm not even going to say I'm going to call them pretenders. I'm just not going to say that the undefeated means nothing yet.
They're Buffalo tenders.
Buffalo chicken tenders. Yeah. That's perfect.
Hey, boy. Hey, man, your boy going to make you eat your words, Corey.
Who, Josh Allen?
Josh Allen going to make you eat your words.
He played some good football, but you said it right. The Jets are improving. Who was it in week 2?
Somebody that's not good.
I was going to say, yeah, it wasn't Miami.
No, it wasn't Miami.
They not yet.
I forgot who it was in week 2. And then Cincinnati's been awful. You know what I'm saying? They don't have AJ Green either. That's why I picked them. But they're just awful anyway. They're up and down. You never know what you're gonna get out of them. You think Starvin Marvin's on his way out?
Ooh,
where?
Starvin Marvin.
Lewis?
Yeah.
He got fired already. He gone. They got new head coach. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So who Cincinnati got up now?
Some young dude, man.
When the hell did Marvin Lewis get fired?
Last season.
Really?
Yeah, at the end of last season, he's out there.
Jesus. I had me thinking Marvin Lewis to see how long he's been. He's been there. Had me thinking he was still. I thought they'd never get rid of him.
Well, the way they playing, you think he's still there?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, they ain't got AJ Green, but they what's the second year that Ross kid? I guess he's been showing sparks. So
John Ross. Yeah.
So let's talk about the Chiefs Baltimore game, man. What are some takeaways y'all think y'all can take from that game, if any?
Honestly, we start like we usually start out. You know what I'm saying? The opponent scores first, then we rev up the engines, and we throw a spear in them, and then we pull out the spear a little too early, and then they start taking advantage of the defense. Because our defense is still trash. People can always run on us. Andy Reid was like, he's like, man, we're not focused on a run. We're focused on passing. That's it. Like all the teams know we don't have good running backs. Well, he ain't say it like that, but he's like, we're not good on the run. But he'll say y'all just gonna have to beat us through the pass. And honestly, the Ravens, which they made a lot of questionable plays and calls, but like they kept blitzing. And like my grandpa always says, blitzing is the quarterback's favorite thing to go against. Cause you blitz me, I'm flinging it. And that's all Patrick Mahomes has been doing. He's just been flinging it. You know what I'm saying? Him and Hartman are getting a little bit closer together. And him and Robinson had an amazing throw and catch. You know what I'm saying? So, what's up?
That dude Robinson's turning out to be something, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Look like another weapon. I had to look. I was like, man, hold on. This dude Robinson again, man. Like, making one-handed catches now. Like, that might be a whole nother, Hardman and Robinson.
He's actually been like literally when Patrick Mahomes got there, him and Patrick Mahomes have been like in the preseason and stuff like that. Before everybody was like, oh my God, Patrick Mahomes. Him and Patrick Mahomes were linking up all the time. Like Patrick Mahomes, he was Patrick Mahomes #1 when Alex Smith was there in his preseasons and stuff like that. It was always him and Robinson, him and Kelsey, him and Robinson. So I mean, it's just proven that, you know what I'm saying, you get somebody in there with a young quarterback to work with reps, he'll pan out to be somebody. You know what I'm saying? Because that chemistry is there. So
Okay. I like that.
I want to say one more thing. You know what I'm saying? Then I'm gonna hand it off. The Ravens. I don't know what y'all was thinking, man. John Harbaugh. I don't know what y'all was thinking, bro. Like, for one, it was a bunch of passing. He barely passed it to any wide receivers in this game. Barely passed to any wide receivers. The main people that were catching the ball was tight ends. They have Willie Snead, Antonio Brown's Hollywood Brown, and I think I don't know the other dude's name.
Malcolm Brown. Okay.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? They were only passing it to tight ends. Melvin Ingram, I mean, that's Melvin Ingram. You know what I'm saying? He was getting a lot of work. That's Melvin Ingram for you. But it's just like the going for 2 plays, that had me scratching my head. Like, they did it twice.
I wasn't mad about it early in the game. That was just that's a risk worth taking when you scored first. The second one, they had to.
The
second one they had to.
Nah, the second one was questionable.
Yeah, second one was questionable. It's at least to me.
Yeah, it was questionable because they were down by 11 at that point, and that would have only made it a 9-point game. So that kind of put them back right there.
Got that Mike Tomlin syndrome, man.
Yeah, that was questionable. Chiefs got some good pass rush on Jackson. You know, they made him work for it. The Jackson shit, man. He's amazing with them legs, man. He probably fastest quarterback. That's the new Mike Vick.
Everybody been saying
great analogy.
Yeah, man. He played amazing. The Chiefs got some work to do, man. That they gave up too much on the run, and man, they giving up too many points, man. They finding themselves having to win the games. You know, at the end, they should have had that game should have been put away. The game should have been put all the way. You know, defense giving up too much. You know, 28 points once again. I know week 2 they held Oakland to 10, but shit, it's fucking Derek Carr. So that's not saying much. Yeah, they're just giving up too many points. But I'm not gonna hold it too much on them. You know, Baltimore is a good team. They had a lot to contend with. So we'll continue. We'll see how they improve. But yeah, they did good. They did well on that pass rush. Yeah, they put a lot of pressure on Lamar Jackson. Made it tough for him.
Yeah, I agree. I think this could easily. This could be an AFC championship matchup. Just kind of depending on what happens with New England, and we'll kind of circle back to that here in a second here. But this could be an AFC championship matchup right here. Lamar Jackson is a beast. Obviously, still needs to improve some of the passing game. he still needs to improve in the passing game. But what I do like is that he doesn't try to do what some running quarterbacks try to do, which is sit in the pocket and not utilize their legs as a threat. You do have some that are reluctant to do it, but as you could see, as the league has grown, a lot of like if you can't run as a quarterback, like you're almost a liability. I mean, hell, that's half the reason Eli Manning ain't starting no more. You know, because he sits in the pocket, he's a dead duck basically because he can't move. You know, Tom Brady has been an anomaly for a long time, but one thing about New England is that they get the ball out pretty quick, so he's not sitting in the pocket too long with the ball in his hand. So we'll see. So let's talk about the Patriots for a minute. Obviously, AB got released on was that Saturday?
Yeah.
That they released him. Okay, so he got released on Saturday. Julian Edelman got hurt on Sunday.
Josh Gordon was questionable.
And Josh Gordon is Josh Gordon. He's week to week. Mm-hmm. He's week to week. They started off the season with a lot of questions at wide receiver because I think that the wide receiver that they drafted actually they put him on IR. He's done for the season. You know, with no Gronk, you know, it'll be interesting kind of to see because at some point, what do you do? Now, you know, Josh McDaniels is a wizard as an offensive coordinator. So I'm sure he got something up his sleeve, but I'm definitely interested in seeing it because they're running out of weapons at wide receiver.
Yeah, they got Philip Dorsett now. Philip Dorsett the second. So.
Which Philip Dorsett actually before Antonio Brown came, actually you started to see him come on. But I don't know if he's a number 2. He may be a number 3. I don't know if he's a number 2. So it'll just be interesting to see. Of course, they have Rex Burkhead. Mm-hmm. You know, they have Sony Michel, James White. You know what I'm saying? Congratulations to James White as well. He had his baby. Congratulations to him.
Congratulations.
So to he and his wife, let me say that respectfully. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. You know what I'm saying? They always figure out a way to make it work. So I expect nothing different, honestly. You know what I'm saying? They'll do that and then figure out a way to cheat along the way. So I expect nothing different.
They ain't even got to do all that, man. They just got to figure out, you know what I'm saying, have their game plan and everything ready come playoff time because regular season's a cakewalk for them, man. 3-0 already in this crappy division. They gonna run past. Who they got? Buffalo next. I think Buffalo.
Josh Allen.
Yeah, Josh Allen. Yeah, they gonna run past Buffalo. So yeah, man, another AFC East title for the Patriots. Yeah, they just gotta see. You know, they got to figure out how to deal with Mahomes. Yeah, that's their main thing. They got to figure out what they're gonna do with Mahomes because they had some close calls. Could have went either way. Both of those games last year.
Mm-hmm. I agree. So let's talk about. Oh, go ahead.
I wanted to say one more thing. I wanted to revert back to the Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes got mad at Andy Reid. I don't know if y'all seen that.
Yeah, I saw that.
But Andy Reid, he's always been known to be a terrible time management coach. You know what I'm saying? And Patrick Mahomes was trying to spike the ball, but Andy Reid called the timeout. And Patrick was like, "What the fuck you doing?" Pretty much. He was like, "What are you doing? Like, we got this." So I was just like, it was that, and then there was also he got mad at his center because his center when he tossed the ball, he tossed it low.
Had the bad snap.
Yeah, tossed it low.
Yeah, pass getting in that ass, man.
That's what leaders do, man.
Yeah, I was happy with it.
Get in that ass, yeah. You got to show it. Yeah, you can't be lackadaisical, and yeah, you got to stay on top of it. So yeah, he started to show leadership, that drive to win. He's tasted. He's been right there on the cusp of success. You know, that's tough to lose in overtime in the AFC Championship game at your home field. You know what I'm saying? Especially dealing with a franchise that, you know what I'm saying, that hasn't really tasted that for shit. What's it been, about 30 years now?
It's been a while.
So he's got a lot on his shoulders, man. Yeah, man. So you're gonna expect shit to go right. The things like that, man, they changed the course of the game. Not snapping the ball right, or he had a shot in that 10 seconds. I was confused why Reed did it too. You know, sometimes you got to just let the quarterback control the game, let him do his thing. You know what I'm saying, and trust him.
I was confused. That's Andy Reid.
Yeah.
Terrible clock, man.
Terrible.
It would have been 10 whole seconds. It would have been funny if they kicked it off and they ran it back. We'd be having a different conversation right now about Andy Reid.
Right.
So Reid don't go nowhere, but you got to give credit Reid. Despite how bad his clock management is, always good, man. He's outstanding, man. He's been an outstanding coach, man, just consistently, especially offensively, man. Bringing quarterbacks. I mean, just look at his track record, man. Donovan McNabb, what he did with Michael Vick. I mean, when Michael Vick came out, I forget when Michael Vick came back, man, the way he was slinging that football like he had never had before. Like he was actually doing pocket passing. What he did with
should have been. He wasn't in jail doing nothing. What they playing? They playing 2-hand traps.
Yeah, oh shit.
That arm should have been fresh.
What he did with Alex Smith, you know what I'm saying? Alex Smith was outstanding for Kansas City.
Alex Smith was a great quarterback. Don't disrespect Alex.
Don't disrespect Alex Smith. Alex Smith was outstanding for the team.
Alex Smith was good in San Francisco. Kaepernick just called lightning in a bottle. That's all that was.
It was a dink and duck, baby. Dink and duck. That's all Andy Reid wanted, and that's all Alex Smith did.
Best quarterback they've had since Joe Montana.
All right, I give you that. I give you that. Yeah, I'll definitely give you that. I'm not gonna be no contrarian and be like, oh no, I give you that.
That's what I'm saying. So you got to give him his props. Alex Smith. Look at his record. And what he produced as quarterback for the Chiefs. I mean, it was amazing. It had to be somebody. It had to be somebody like Mahomes to come around. I know Alex Smith tired of these mulatto Negroes taking his starting position, man. You remember when Kaepernick? Kaepernick was kind of similar to Mahomes. Yeah, he was similar to Mahomes. I mean, his strength, the way he was rocketing the ball, his speed and everything. You know what I'm saying? But they figured Kaepernick out. Man, Mahomes is a whole nother level. But yeah, Alex Smith was great, man. But you got to give Andy Reid credit, man, what he does with that offense.
He already got good credit.
That was a good one. I like that one.
I could say tonight, man.
That was a good one.
Let's talk about them New York Giants, man. Obviously, Daniel Jones. You know what I'm saying?
The comeback.
Them keeping up with the Joneses. You know. Yeah, man. That was a good game for him. I think he had two rushing touchdowns and two passing touchdowns.
Yep.
So definitely a solid debut for him. I'm not gonna jump on the Daniel Jones wagon
like everybody else is.
Now, I mean, this was going to happen. I didn't expect it to happen this soon, but I did expect this to happen.
We spoke about
it. But it's the Bucks. It's the Bucks. You know what I'm saying? You going up against Crab Legs, which Crab Legs actually had he's had a solid season. He threw 3 touchdowns to Mike Evans yesterday. But so he had a solid game. I mean, he drove him down the field, and they missed a field goal that would have won the game. But it's the Bucks. That's all I'm gonna say. We'll see what happens, especially now that he doesn't have. Not that Saquon was a factor in this game because he went down early.
Yeah.
But defenses will play them different. They'll play them different next week. Now that they know Saquon is definitely not going to play for the next 4 to 8 weeks. Defenses will change the way that they play the Giants. But I mean, excellent debut. You know what I'm saying? We'll see if he's able to keep this up. Eli Manning seemed to be cheering him on. So we'll see.
Eli ain't got no choice for one, and for two, I just want to let everybody know if you do play fantasy, I would take a look at Golden Tate. So if I was you, I would take a look at Golden Tate. Just saying.
I drafted him, and knowing he was suspended. Still drafted him.
Hey,
you talking about Golden Tate with Draymond, Steph, and Clay? Talking about Golden Tate, right?
Yeah.
It's Draymond, Steph, and man, where the hell Golden Tate been, man?
He's suspended
for PEDs.
Yeah, I know. It was like the first 4 games.
Yeah. Took some of his wife for estrogen medicine.
Yeah, man, it's been rocky since he left Seattle. He had a good little stint in Philly. He had a good little stint in Philly, but it ain't been the same.
Nah, he balled out in Detroit.
Yeah.
He sure did.
And
Philly, you knew Philly was a pass through.
Yeah.
Philly was gonna be a pass.
Now you know who I'm probably thinking about. I'm thinking about Percy Harvin.
Oh, headache.
Percy Harvin fell off after he left Seattle. Yeah.
He fell off. He never really. He never did much in the league. He had them headaches, man. I don't know if that was concussion related from his days at Florida, or if he just. I don't know what that was, man. But he dealt with some migraines all the time, man.
Yeah.
Bright lights wasn't for him.
Yeah.
So is it time for the Steelers to call it a season?
Oh yeah, it's over.
It's over.
Yeah.
It's over.
I mean,
look good.
They're gonna come out tough. Tomlin's gonna have them playing tough. They're gonna be in the games. Look how. they played. They played well against Seattle. They played well against San Fran. But they just, they got a new guy up in there, second string quarterback, man.
Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
Yeah, man. Mason Rudolph. Man, they just decimated team. Look at all the losses they've taken within the past few years. Just. Big Ben, I know he's at the tail end of his career, but he's still, that's Big Ben Roethlisberger. Losing Bell. Antonio went retarded, so man, it's tragic. It's tragic, man. Tragic way to go out, man, for them Steelers, man. This season's a loss, man.
Yeah,
Tomlin can go in, man. Tomlin's gonna get in there. He's gonna play hard, have his guys ready to go every week. But they need to start planning for next season also.
Is it time for him to go?
Who? Tomlin?
Yes, sir.
No way.
I'm just checking. It's definitely not the Pittsburgh way. I'm just wondering.
We talked about that a little bit, and I was like, the front office, not the front office, but some of the people that is under him might have to go. You know what I'm saying? Before Tomlin goes, and that was coming from my grandpa, and he's the biggest Pittsburgh Steelers fan, and I know.
Yeah, they need to hand out some pink slips.
Yeah.
Tomlin's done way too much for that organization, and like I said, the way he has those guys prepared, the way they compete. Even when they fail, they come up short. The way they just compete on a week to week, year to year basis. Yeah, Tomlin always has those guys prepared. You look at Tom's, especially was that playoff game against Jacksonville. They always fall short in the playoffs, but I mean, hell, they go down swinging unless it's New England. That's where Tomlin always gets outclassed. You know what I'm saying? Going against New England, but other than that, I mean, shit, hell no. That's the Steelers coach, man. Like Chuck Noll.
He'd have another job in 5 minutes if they let him go anyway.
Oh yeah.
Like Chuck Noll, Bill Cowher. You know what I'm saying? Mike Tomlin's right on that list, right along with them.
That what DMX was saying the whole time?
You said what?
That what DMX was saying?
What was DMX saying? I'm surprised you can understand anything DMX says nowadays.
You know he said, Chuck, no. Stop. Oh, anyway.
I'm still weak off the you said you called him that what's his last name? Reindeer? Mason Rudolph. I'm guessing Juju had the shiny gloves.
Mm-hmm.
And if you ever seen him, he would probably catch a touchdown. I don't know.
Man. Jingles, boy, you think you're Jamie Foxx?
That's right. The master of none.
So let's talk about Freddie need to get his ass out the kitchen.
Man, that was so awful. Man, that was awful. That was awful. Jesus Christ. We need to get his ass out the kitchen. Yeah, you got that right.
But man, I mean, he's overmatched. I'm just gonna say it like it is. He's overmatched. There's no way you go from being. Was he the quarterbacks coach last year?
Yeah.
How the hell you go from being a quarterbacks coach to a damn head coach? That just lets you. That's about two things. That shows the continued dysfunction in the organization, but it also, I think it was a power move for John Dorsey because Hugh Jackson actually wanted to be involved in player personnel decisions when in his tenure there, and obviously, he's no longer with the team. Matter of fact, I think his ass is Cincinnati. He's that was just terrible decision making from top to bottom. Baker Mayfield. You know what I'm saying? It's not the Baker's dozen so far. They're just not playing well. Now the defense looks solid.
Yeah, defense looks good.
Even with the whole secondary not playing in the second half yesterday, none of the starters at least. I mean, they gave up 20 points to the defending NFC champs. Now, the Rams don't look good. They don't look good either. But my boy came through last night, Cooper Kupp. You know what I'm saying? He had a good game, but they don't look the same. Gurley, somebody needs to explain to me what the hell is going on with Todd Gurley, because either I don't want to say this because number one, I don't know if it's factual, but from what I understand about his knee, I think he actually may be getting early onset of arthritis in his knees.
Oh shit.
So
you said that like you got him on your fantasy team.
I don't. Thank God, because he was right there for the picking. Pick. Was it? He fell to pick 6, but yeah.
Somebody picked his ass up 6.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they was reaching. That was a reach.
A big reach.
I wouldn't have took him 6. I'd probably take him first round if I had a shot, but not at 6. Okay.
Those injuries. But yeah, you gotta. Let's give Gurley some time. Let's go ahead and give him a little bit of time. It's week 3.
How much more time to give him, coach?
I mean, it's week 3, man. Look, give him to about, man.
Couple more weeks.
I mean, shit, man. I say it like this, man. He needs to be rolling. As long as he's rolling by the second half, by the time November hits around. If the Rams, he can be mediocre, you know what I'm saying, as long as the Rams are, you know what I'm saying, top of their division, doing what they need to do, top of the NFC. But, come around November, December, that's, starts getting cold, you hitting the road, things like that, man. You're going to need Gurley, going to need him rolling. And, it's probably, probably want to preserve him as much as you possibly can, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, I'm not saying that's the reason, but, probably slow start might be a good thing. Keep the ball out of his hands as much as possible. And get him going, because that's when it's late in the season when those injuries start to pop up, especially for him, and that fucks him in the playoff time. They missed him in the Super Bowl last year. They need that. So
okay. All right, I'm
give him a little bit of time. Browns defense playing well. Offensive line was, it was just a mixture of everything offensively. Just offensive line was horrible.
Play calling was trash.
Play calling was absolutely atrocious by Freddie Kitchens.
Now we're gonna draw play. Boy, I said did I call you?
Yeah, and I understand, sometimes, they try to catch guys off guard with that, but nah, man. Yeah, you don't do that. That was bad.
Aaron Donald, come on,
yeah, you're right. Darren Donald, man, was killing that line, man. Oh my God, he was just busting. Man, he was busting through the boys like the damn Kool-Aid, man, through the wall, man.
Oh, yeah.
He should have wore a big red shirt and shit, man. Bust through that shit, man. Baker Mayfield, he's struggling. He needs to get his stuff, understand what's going around. Man, I saw him a couple times. He was getting happy feet behind there. Taking a beating and started messing with him psychologically. Man, I saw him. Yeah, he was running outside of the pocket. When he didn't really need to. Just stay in the pocket. But he's actually running outside and allowing the defensive end to trail him. And I'm like, man, what is this dude doing, man? But yeah, a lot of it. Yeah,
rated quarterback in the league right now.
Yeah, man. Yeah, Freddie Kitchens, man. Bad play calling. Jared Goff. Do you think Jared Goff is is what he is? Do you think we were looking at him last year? There's been a lot of talks about Jared Goff being in the next set of that elite class in the NFL. Do you think Jared Goff just benefited from? Or benefiting, even still now because he still got those weapons. You think he benefits from the weapons that he has around him?
Yeah,
no different than any other quarterback in the league.
What you mean?
Anybody with weapons like that should have no problem performing.
But there is kind of a teetering kind of balance because. As well, you're going to play better with weapons, but then you do have those quarterbacks that can create weapons. You know what I'm saying? They put the ball where it needs to, they demand excellence, and they put the ball where it needs to be.
That's not him.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And so that's what I'm talking about when I say elite. That's what I'm talking about when I say elite. Like those guys like Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes is going to be good in any system. You just can't replicate an arm like that. Patrick Mahomes, the Peyton Mannings, Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, Drew Brees, those type of guys. You can switch up the receivers. They're going to create a new star out of the next set.
Yeah, I don't put him in the elite status yet.
Yeah.
I see a little bit more. You know, you saw the regression that the offense had last season when Cooper Kupp went down.
Right.
You know, and it was pretty.
And Brandon Cooks.
It was stark. I'm not even gonna act like it wasn't. You know, it was minimal. It was a pretty stark difference in that offense when Cooper Kupp went down and third option was no longer there. So, no, not yet, but he's got an opportunity. I will say that. You know, this is just his third year in the league. So let's give him some. I'll give him. We'll treat him like we're treating Gurley. We're gonna give him a little bit more time.
Really?
Yeah, we'll give him a little bit more time to prove if he can be an elite quarterback. He's a great quarterback in this league right now, but I wouldn't put him in elite status yet.
So is he better than Carson Wentz?
Is he better than Carson Wentz? Wow.
Because if we're giving him time, we still got to give Carson Wentz some time.
I never said Carson Wentz is elite. He's a great talent, but he can't stay healthy enough to prove it on the field. So I wouldn't call Carson Wentz elite.
Okay, I agree with that.
I mean, let's put it into perspective. Carson Wentz may be more gifted than Dak Prescott, but Dak Prescott is a better quarterback.
Okay, yeah.
You can't argue that. Statistically, you can't argue that.
Yeah, I can't. Hey.
What was that, Corey? Corey, got any comment on that?
Not good. You on there. Now Carson Wentz got to stay healthy. Carson Wentz is a good quarterback. He gets off the extremely slow starts, which has been plaguing the Eagles, especially this first part of the year.
You can't stay healthy. The whole team is like that, though.
Yeah. So, they about in the same category. I put them, him and Golfer right there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you look, what was that first injury? That was the Eagles Super Bowl year. That first injury came. Yeah. It was remember they were neck and neck. And then remember when the Eagles met Los Angeles late in that season, and that's where the injury came. That was a highly anticipated game. Carson Wentz, they're right neck and neck. They got a lot to prove. They got a lot of potential. Wentz just has to stay healthy. Goff has to show, like I said, like we said, see what he does when he loses some weapons, he loses some couple key guys. Can he still hold it together, and make some of the proper passes? Because he made some bad ones last night. Threw a few bad interceptions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I want to give y'all a couple of teams and quarterbacks, and I want y'all to tell me if a certain quarterback will be there next year. We will start in Cincinnati. We'll start in Cincinnati. Will Andy Dalton be the quarterback next year?
The Red Rifle? I'll be honest with you. I don't see him leaving. I don't see Andy Dalton leaving.
Yeah,
he's still gonna be there. Okay, Red Devil. Okay. I'll come back to him. Now I'm gonna ask that a different way.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
I got an interesting one for you.
I'm ready.
If Nick Foles does not come back healthy, will he be in Jacksonville next year?
Probably not. No, I think Jacksonville's gonna. I think Minshew. Just out of what I've seen from him in the first 3 weeks, even week 1 against Kansas City, I think Minshew. They're gonna roll with him. I think they're gonna roll with him and see what they can get out of him. I think Foles is done in Jacksonville.
I second that. I definitely second that.
I think he's done in Jacksonville. I think they running with porn stash.
Yeah.
Shout out to the real Florida man.
You think about it, Minshew is marketable. You know what I'm saying? Good player. Yeah, man. I think they're rolling with that.
Marcus Mariota.
Bad Bubbles was like, honestly,
clock's ticking, man.
the clock is ticking, but I honestly don't see him going nowhere.
I think I don't see him going nowhere yet. You're
saying they're gonna give him 25. They don't give him 30 million next year. What you saying?
They're probably not gonna give him 30, but they'll give him close to that.
Yeah, I don't see
market value. Market value is 30.
Hey, you have to show out this year and not be injured.
He ain't showing out so far. Derek Carr.
He's gone.
Out of here.
Okay. They
Time
start over.
Time to move on. It's sad. See what to come. Like I said, he hasn't had much help, but when you compared to what he was before the injury, I mean, these guys, I mean, they struggle to score, let alone 20 points. I mean, these guys can barely score 15 points in a game. Like I watch these Raiders games, and it's just, it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad, especially from what we thought Derek Carr could be. Yeah, I think he'll flourish. He can flourish. He does have potential. I think, but I think it's time to move on, find a new change of scenery, and they need to try something new down there. They're gonna be in Las Vegas. They need to try something new. They need to try something new, man. But yeah, Derek Carr is Derek Carr, and they put him on a team with a really strong defense, really strong defense. I think you could see some success, but I think, man, his confidence has been taken down. I think that's it. But you never know. Well, it's still week 3. Minnesota's one of the best offenses in the league. Like I said, he dealt with that pass rush, Kansas City pass rush, and then trying to keep up with Pat Mahomes, trying to keep up with something like that. That changes up the offense. They got away. They find themselves, the play calling's been bad. They keep finding themselves getting away. They're not feeding John Jacobs the ball. After that first week he had, I mean, man, give him the ball, let him do what he does. So a lot of it's the play calling. I'm not gonna throw Derek Carr out there yet. Like you said, we talked about it over and over again. He keeps having all these changes and offensive coordinators and head coaches and everything. So just hasn't had a lot of time to really get settled. That was a good showing week 1. This connection with Tyrell Williams. They had a good first quarter in week 2, and then just went to shit from there. Then they were on the road. Yeah, this is a road game in Minnesota. Minnesota's no joke. So we'll see what happens. It's not gonna get any easier. Road game against Brisket next week.
Next bomb Brisket.
Yeah, it's a road game against Brisket, but I mean, you're gonna have to. I mean, Derek Carr just does bad. Anytime they play a top defense, anytime they play somebody with a decent, I mean, just road games in general, man. He's just bad. He's just horrible, man. He's got a. It's not looking good. It's not looking good for. We'll see where it goes.
How about the Denver Broncos?
They'll be drafting another quarterback.
Honestly. Yeah, they'll draft somebody. Yeah.
So they drafted Drew Lock this year. I think they'll turn the reins over to him if they don't see improvement. Let's say by turn it over.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, Flacco, man, they got everything, man. Flacco was done when the Ravens won the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I got you.
I knew the Baltimore was going to regret giving them that, but I guess they do that. They want to take care of their guys. They're like, thank you for helping us get there. I mean, Don't get me wrong. Flacco has some outstanding moments. He came up big time, but just as a consistent quarterback, and they overpaid for him, and then they started seeing the regression. So he is what he is.
Kirk Cousins.
He is who we thought he was. Kirk Cousins works well with Minnesota. He's another example of when you pair a quarterback like him. Kirk Cousins, he's kind of Jay Cutlerish. He can sling that ball, but he makes horrible defense. A top defense like Minnesota can bail you out of that. Remember Jay Cutler? Jay Cutler made the NFC. They had the NFC Championship game in Chicago. Because he had that defense backing him. So that's and then you got Dalvin Cook back, and Dalvin Cook's doing what he does. I mean, shit, Minnesota's the top team in the league right now. We looking past them. We look, now they're not getting a lot of recognition from what I've seen. They're not talking about them. I don't see them as a top story on First Take or Undisputed or anything like that. But now Minnesota, shit, Thielen, great receivers. Defense is still stout, man. You got Kirk Cousins up in there, man. I don't see why he wouldn't be there next year.
Okay.
I mean, but a lot of teams are trying to enforce more of the running style. But yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
He run. I mean, he's not immobile. I'll say that much. He's not immobile.
You'll never pocket passing will never go away though. You know what I'm saying?
That's factual.
Now it opens up being able to run. Like I said, Kirk Cousins can run. You know what I'm saying? He can extend the play. But yeah, pocket passing. That as far as quarterback play, pocket passing will always be number one. Because first of all, that's that being able to pocket pass, having a good line, and being able to like I said, get that drop back, that 1, 2, 3 drop back, and release the ball. If you got somebody there, that's going. Got the offense running like that. Shit, man, that's something you can't beat right there. That's something you can't beat. It keeps the quarterback healthy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Let's see. Mitchell Trubisky.
Mitchell Trubisky? Yeah.
Yeah, he'll be there.
He'll still stay. Yeah,
he'll be there. Yeah, he just went to playoffs last year.
We're gonna circle back to that. Jameis Crableg Winston.
When you mention these names, because I say guys like Trubisky and Trubisky or Winston, it's the quarterback as much as they've made it easier, for them to succeed, it's still a tough position to play. So it's hard to get guys in there and get some of the production. A guy like Jameis Winston, he's still an average quarterback, but he's an average quarterback. But it's to the effect of it's hard to find guys to replace him. That's why he hasn't been replaced up to this point. He's been average. You know what I'm saying? He produces. You know what I'm saying? He can get you something. But guys like him, guys like him, Stafford. That's why they haven't been replaced yet. That's when they play well enough. Like I said, if you get some pieces, get a stout defense, around them and things like that, you can get some wins out of those guys. Yeah, and they're just not playing. They tend to they play good starting quarterback. I'll just say that much. And so Trubisky, like I said, he played well last year. Now we'll see if it's he's been he's obviously having a good night tonight from what it sounds like. But the first 2 weeks were
225. All right, he ain't doing that too much.
Yeah. You say he's only got 125 yards?
225.
Huh?
225.
2.5 what?
Yeah, 225.
225. Oh, okay. You said 2.5. I was about to say, man, was that his passer rate? I was like, oh no, he need to get out tonight.
Wait, what happened?
They need to ship him out tonight. I thought he was saying the passer rating was 2.5.
For who? Crableg?
Nah, we talking about Trubisky. Nah,
Trubisky.
He's good tonight. He got 3 touchdowns.
Oh,
yeah. So yeah, man, he's doing his thing. Chicago. They show the graphic. Chicago missed out on Mahomes and who else was that? Watson. Was it Watson?
Yeah, Deshaun Watson. Yeah.
Yeah, Mahomes and Watson. They all came in the same draft. So I know that hurts. I think they got like double the touchdowns Trubisky's had in that time period. But Trubisky just started hitting a stride last year. Give him some, like I said, like everything else, give him some time. Let him, let's see where he goes. But he's playing like a good, like I said, he's playing like a good starting quarterback for a team that has great defense, like Brad Johnson.
I got a little caveat for your boy Crab Legs, but
caviar around here, man.
But I actually want to save that until you mention the one quarterback that I think it would be a switch. But continue naming the quarterbacks.
Last but not least, this is the last team or last quarterback. Scram Newton.
You said who?
Scram Newton.
You said Scram Newton.
Yeah, said Scram Newton.
Scram Newton. Zesty Newton. Is that who you was talking about? Can replace Winston?
Yep.
That's who I thought you were gonna say. I wouldn't even do that, man.
Let me ask you this: with Chicago's weapons, would you trade with the weapons Chicago has? Would you trade for him?
No.
You would not. You would ride Trubisky.
I've never liked Cam Newton as a quarterback.
It depends on the offensive line. If the offensive line is better than Carolina's offensive line in Chicago, then I could see it. But otherwise, no.
Otherwise, no. Is he done? Is he done?
You know what? I don't know.
Done? So
Cam
let me ask you
Newton is
this.
one of those cases to where you've seen the downfall has always been there. You can see that it's a high possibility. You know where I'm going with it? Mm-hmm. It's a high possibility.
Always been imminent.
Right. It's always been imminent. Like, you look at him, you know what I'm saying? You see, you'll have those good games. You're like, okay, Cam doing his thing. Yeah. He's got some strength in his arm, but man, I just watch him like, and I've seen them finally talk about this year. I don't know if they talked about it before, but it's something I've always noticed. Like, he telegraphs his throws. Like, he has one of the slowest releases I've ever seen in my life. Like, he, especially on the deep ball. And it's catching up. Yeah, he telegraphs his throws, and it just doesn't look comfortable. Doesn't look comfortable out there.
This is here's an analogy for you. I'm gonna give you an analogy. Think about it though. After I say it, Robert Griffin.
He's not as bad as that. No, he's not as bad as Robert Griffin.
Why? Because he was able to stay healthy longer than Robert Griffin?
No, he's better than Robert Griffin. Robert Griffin was.
I disagree. I believe that Cam Newton has survived his football career off of talent, not skill. Talent, not skill.
I'll give you that. But he also shortened his career because he liked to meet people one on one. He's like, oh, you gonna try to tackle me? All right, bet. I'm scrambling. I'm gonna go at you. I'm not gonna run away from you. So he shortened his career because of that.
Every big black quarterback has done that. Look at Dante Culpepper. Yeah, he wasn't a scrambler, but once he scrambled, he was dropping that shoulder because he was just as big as the linebackers was.
Right.
Hell, probably as big as the defensive lineman. So Cam Newton has relied on talent his entire career. He came in the league as an inaccurate passer, and it just shows up every year. He had 1 year where I think it was 2 years ago where his completion percentage was high, but it was a lot of short passes.
Yeah.
The year that they won, or not the year that they won, but the year they went to the Super Bowl, you could argue that. I mean, he had a great career, or he had a great season that season, but you could argue that the defense carried the team all year.
There we go again. See, yeah, it's that defense. You know, you got Kuechly, Davis, Josh. That's when Josh Norman was still performing at a high level. He was with Carolina. Like, yeah, man.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, man. Me personally, and this is just me personally, and I said this.
Cam will be there next year, though. He'll be there next year.
You think so?
Yeah, I think they got a lot of time invested in the Cam Newton. Huh?
They gotta pay him.
I can see that. I can see him staying.
What's his contract looking like?
This is the last year. They gotta pay him next year. But you pay Cam Newton $35 million because
you know what? I'll say it like this: $35 million a year.
Well, I mean, hey man, I'm just looking at market value for a quarterback right now. Market value for a starting quarterback is $35 million right now.
Okay, so let's just say Cam Newton was to get traded, right?
You pay him 30?
25.
Would you pay? Yeah, nah. You let him go then. Because and I'm gonna be honest, if I'm Cam, why would I accept less than I wouldn't accept $25 million.
Hey, you gotta.
I don't care how bad my skills has eroded.
Babies can't be choosy.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
I think
his
time is up in Carolina. I don't think that they'll ever get over that hump with Cam Newton, and that's just me being honest. If I'm Carolina, I'm moving on.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know, man.
He better go get his porridge somewhere else. You know what I'm saying? Because Lil Red Riding Hood ain't coming back to that house no time soon.
Yeah. Nah, they're not gonna get over the hump with him. I don't know. I think they're emotionally invested in Cam Newton.
Yeah.
You know, and he still has that star power. You know what I'm saying? He gets a lot of media coverage. We'll see.
Or the costume designer.
Huh?
They invest in football player or the costume designer.
So they need to invest in the costume designer, man.
He's not invested in football, man.
He's not.
I'm just. He's. What about Jacksonville? I'm not even going to talk about his costumes anymore. What about Jacksonville?
No, I couldn't see Jacksonville, but I could see Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh, hell no.
I could see Pittsburgh.
Nah, I couldn't see Pittsburgh. I could see somewhere like the Jets. Yeah, I could see the Jets make. I can see the Jets making a move like that, especially.
Darnold's cheaper.
Yep.
They wouldn't do that. Darnold's cheaper. They wouldn't even do that.
You think they're invested? You think they're?
Oh yeah.
You think they're locked into Darnold though?
Yeah, because they literally built that defense to complement his offense.
I'm not sold on Darnold yet.
You don't take a quarterback number 2 and be done with him after year 2 when you know you're rebuilding.
Talk to the Arizona Cardinals about that.
That terrible franchise.
Hey, Jets are too much better.
From a franchise leadership perspective, I disagree.
You talking about a franchise? You talking about a franchise that grabbed Tim Tebow, picked up Tim. They picked up Tim Tebow. You know what I'm saying?
Tebow went to the playoffs, man. What you talking about?
Man, you better stop, man. That shit. You know Tim Tebow. That's what drove Tony Richardson out the league.
Is it?
Yeah, I saw. Although I told you is when we were working at Lowe's, Lauren. I went across the street. I think it was a lunch break. Yeah, I think it was on lunch break. Went across the street. Tony Richardson was over there signing autographs. whatever. I didn't get no autograph. I just hollered at him like, "What's up, man?" Just like, "Man, what's going on? You still going, man? What you going another year?" He's like, "Oh man, you don't know, man." He's like, "Man, I retired a few months ago." I was like, "Oh yeah, man." It's like, "You finally called it quits, man. It's time to hang it up." He's like, "Oh man," he's like, "Man, I couldn't take no more of that, man, up in that locker room, man." And he said, man, after they signed old boy, he said, "Man, I was out." He said, "I couldn't do no more." I'm like, "Yeah," like, man, that's the Jets, man. That's the Jets, man. When are they? When last time the Jets been outside of that little time, where they beat the Patriots and lost to the Steelers? When have they really been successful?
I mean, shit. Joe Namath.
Exactly.
Damn.
Broadway
Joe.
Yeah, man.
Joe, you know what I'm saying? Since then, it's been Chad Pennington, Wayne Sherbert. No, I ain't gonna dog my boy Quebec. Wayne Quebec. Who else, man? Who else? Butt
Fumble. Mark Sanchez.
Santonio Holmes. Yeah, man. Yeah, nah, man. I could see the Jets. I don't know. For some reason, I could see Cam Newton in the Jets uniform.
I mean, you can see him in anything if you just with them costumes. That fool gonna be out there with Vince McMahon.
Yeah.
Oh Lord, goddamn.
What's the man thinking, man? That shit ain't fly, man. But I ain't gonna. That's what works for him, man. I ain't gonna judge the man. Fuck that. Nah, I'm judging this shit, man. That shit looks awful, man. Them dudes get that money, man. They like, fuck it, man. I can wear whatever I want to wear. And shit, look at Young Thug, man. Young Thug's out there wearing wedding dresses and stuff, man. You guys get rich.
He says, from the bottom to the top, that's my lifestyle.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Looking a little zesty out there, man. You trying to a little zesty. So you might see Cam playing center here in a second.
Look.
He might make a position change. He gonna be playing center.
Right.
If y'all don't know what we laughing at, it's best that y'all don't.
Shout out to Cam, though, man. We'll see a black man do it, man. But
I knew somebody was gonna say that bullshit. Fuck a shout out to Cam.
Yeah, fuck Cam.
Shout out to man.
I want to see a black man. I want to see black man. You know what I'm saying? Do his thing. But man, at this point, it's like, hey, man, but the black man as a quarterback, man, that's the new thing, man. You take a look around. You take a look around. I mean, just look. Got Lamar out there. Lamar, Mahomes, Wilson. You know, they're mulatto, but, they count. Wilson, Deshaun Watson. What else, man? I mean, it's shit. They taking over the league, man. They taking over, man. It's the new wave.
Yeah, like, I think it was last week. Yeah, like I told Lauren last week, man. The top three people that was in talks for MVP last week was they were all black quarterbacks, and that's the first time that I've ever had that or thought of or had that conversation even come up.
Hey, y'all better watch out, man. Hey, niggas is getting accurate now, man. Hey, the hood better watch. Hey, the hood better watch out. Niggas starting to get accurate. You out here catching headshots, man. Let me start, man. This is a sports show, man. We keep that for something. It's getting accurate out here, man. Nah, man. This is definitely a revolution. Cam, man. It sucks to see that, but yeah, he's struggling. Like I said, we've seen the regression. There's regression coming. Yeah. I don't know. I just think they got a lot emotionally invested. Just emotionally invested in Cam Newton.
Probably. Well, you know, they got that new owner, you know what I'm saying? Wasn't that the owner that was tapped into the KKK?
Was he?
I thought so.
I don't know. I didn't know about that.
Well, if so, allegedly. If so, he's allegedly a part of that. But yeah, I mean,
no damn alleged. Stop playing.
I'm cracking that whip. I'm cracking that whip. Did y'all by any chance see what Antonio Brown said about Shannon Sharp?
I ain't paying attention to that clown.
About how he had I guess a quote unquote rape allegation against him, and he doesn't know why Shannon Sharp is making fun of him, and then Shannon Sharp came back and was like, or I guess had a picture on Instagram and was like, it was him, and then it was Antonio Brown's face, Antonio Brown's face with Tekashi 6ix9ine's face tattoos in his hair. It was like, why you snitching on me or some shit like that.
Well, the internet ain't got no shame, man.
Hey, man, Shannon be clapping back at cats, man. You see him, man? He got into it with my guys, man. I fuck with them Griselda Records guys up in Buffalo, man. I like them, but Shannon talk about, man, there ain't no rappers come out of. He didn't know about them. He said ain't no rappers come out of Buffalo. Man, they clapped back at him, but Shannon was coming back at. Shannon was coming right back at him. Benny the Butcher, West Side Gun, and all of them. Yeah, he's coming right back. He said, "Man, I know." He said, "I know about buffalo wings." What else he said, man? Shannon was saying some crazy stuff, man. He ain't scared, man. But yeah, Antonio Brown's missing a complete point, man. He doesn't get that. It was like we talked about a month ago. It's when you keep having issues, you know what I'm saying? When it's one thing after another and then you're doing the stupid shit in between, it just gets to a point though, man, if you sneeze wrong, it's like, you know what I'm saying? Like, man, shut the fuck up. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, you never had somebody who's just annoying as hell, man. They say stupid shit and then you may not say nothing to them then, and then they might just say one thing and they could be completely right, but you just like, man, shut the hell up. I don't want to hear a motherfucking thing. That's the situation, man. That's what it is with the Patriots, and he doesn't get that. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't they were letting them play. You know what I'm saying? Even with the allegations, but then even with that, he fucked around. Then he contacted the victim. You know what I'm saying? In a group message. Now I just, you know what? I don't want to believe that this idiot would really tag the accuser. You know what I'm saying? I want to believe that somebody else did it and did some snake stuff behind his back. But you know what? Nothing surprises me with this guy anymore. Like, he more than likely he did tag her in it, being arrogant, buffoonish, you know what I'm saying, and just believe he can't be touched. Tagged his lawyer in it too. You see, the lawyer wasn't having no part of that shit. Lawyer didn't respond on nothing. He's like, what the hell are you doing? So man, no man, he misses the whole point, man. It's horrible, man. Hopefully the NFL has they use some common sense. I know this is going to be something that the NFL PA, the Players Association, they're going to attack. They're going to bring this up, and they're going to put focus on this from their and I'm saying in defense of them getting the guaranteed money. Like, they're going to put that in the owners' heads. Like, look, you know what I'm saying? They're going to have to, like I said, bring the stats, bring the statistics. It's an anomaly, But the owners want to use stuff like this for fuel. You know what I'm saying? And they're going to try to blow this up bigger than what it is, so they don't have to do that. But it's an anomaly. And as long as the Players Association remembers that, when you start talking about, just use that. Start using guys like, you can use the Terrell Owens, the Randy Mosses, all those guys. Those guys, it had grumblings, had some stuff that, may have pissed some guys off in the locker room. But, man, they were great teammates, great players. And it was never nothing to this extent. I've never seen. You've had some crazy motherfuckers, but just from a top receiver, top guys, things like that. It's just I've never really seen any episode like this. Yeah.
I mean, to a point, he has a point on. He has a valid point of him talking about getting his guaranteed money, but it's coming at the wrong time from the wrong person. Because the NFL is talking about they're not really. Allegedly, they're talking about they're not going to give him his $9 million guaranteed and his $24 million guaranteed that was from Oakland.
Wasn't that part of the contract though? Wasn't that part of the contract? And then wasn't because I don't have all the details, but wasn't it? He was supposed to hold out. I think if he would have just held out till like today or something like that, he would have got the money.
Oh, really?
He would have got the money.
Yeah, New England ain't no fool, though. They
They
knew what they was doing.
There's all type of stuff in these contracts. Like they wouldn't even put themselves in this position if it wasn't, because they know they'll be open to a lawsuit. These players got the money to open a lawsuit and get their money. Like no, man. They protect themselves in situations just like this.
Smart.
I'm pretty sure Antonio wasn't reading the damn thing when he signed that contract. He signed it and he went right to Instagram and showed me the business is booming. Yeah, business is booming and all that silly shit, man. Like, and then now you talking crazy about Kraft and start talking about what he did.
That was wild.
You really ain't getting no money. You ain't getting a dime from these guys.
Yeah.
So no, stand on your word. You said you don't need football. You don't need football. Stand on your word.
Yeah.
you don't need the money. You said it yourself.
Now I'm trying to figure out this though. Y'all got to help me out with this one, man, because I'm at a loss with this one. This motherfucker enrolled in school.
Yeah.
Yeah, he enrolled in Central Michigan.
I'm gonna go back to school. I'm going to get my education and be better than all of you.
like your boy Kevin Hart says, swear to God.
I swear to God.
That motherfucker went back to college, Corey.
Yeah. Gotta start somewhere. Gotta start somewhere. He a lost clown out there, man.
I got it. I figured it out.
He's a lost clown in the world, man.
I figured out why he's gonna go back to college.
What's up?
Please help me.
He's gonna go back to college. He's gonna change his name, and he's gonna play. He's gonna play for the NCAA. He's gonna try to get redrafted.
Oh no, it ain't gonna happen. He gonna do like that dude down here in Dallas or something. What he gonna do? Color his mustache another color or some shit, man. I can see it. I can see him doing some stupid shit like that. Probably will. They're gonna come up in the news. They're gonna come up in the news next. Antonio Brown came in with the little glasses and the fake nose. You know what I'm saying? Trying to come out with another alias or some stupid shit. I wouldn't put it past him. I wouldn't put. You might be on to something, Randy. As crazy as this guy is.
The athlete formerly known as Antonio Brown.
Right. Some crazy shit like that. You know.
I am not Antonio. I am Antonius.
Right.
Bryant. Two completely different people. What do you mean?
Go talk to Ursan Ilyasova and some of those other guys from overseas to see how you can fake your identity and shit, man.
All right, bro. Now, how did y'all get that done?
Right. I wouldn't put it past him. But no, he's got to start somewhere. Man, he's lost though. He needs mental help. On to the next.
That's the fucking understatement of the year.
Yeah.
He said it's understatement of the year.
Huge understatement. The game's gonna keep, business is gonna keep booming without him.
Right, exactly.
Business is booming.
I was gonna try not to talk about it until I saw that bullshit come across my damn phone. Enrolled in school. I said, this guy, man. I said, if somebody don't help that motherfucker get checked in or something. Yeah. 2 Rivers, 1 River, shit. Because this motherfucker's on some Crimea River bullshit.
He on a couple lines.
It's just I'm never like Corey said, this is just unprecedented. I've never seen this type of self-sabotage ever. And I mean, I'm talking about there's been some crazy fucking athletes. I mean,
crazy niggas. You the niggas was out there pulling drive-bys and burying niggas. And out there pulling drive-bys and burying niggas in fields and shit and going out there and catching 100 yards. And, you know what I'm saying? We talking about Hernandez, Ray Lewis.
We talking about shit. We talking about Antonio Brown raping people. Who was his best boy in Pittsburgh? Big Ben. Big Ben was a wild boy. And the NFL was like, we don't see nothing. We don't see nothing.
Allegedly, those are allegations.
To stay safe, allegedly.
Allegedly, man. That's what they rule, man. You can't let the court do their thing. Hey, OJ, man, beat the case, man.
I mean, but we all know OJ did that shit. Even OJ alluded to that shit. OJ
allegedly, man. What if I did do it? What if I did?
See, he had a couple books too.
What if I did do it? This is what I would do.
Oh man.
Yeah, I mean OJ's on the 6ix9ine train too. You know what I'm saying? He's like everybody snitching. Snitching.
Simpson. Orenthal. Damn shame. Who would name their son Orenthal? Why would you do that? Oh well, his mama probably country as hell. They ain't going no better.
Yeah, you're right. It's possible.
No better.
She didn't know her baby was going to commit a double murder.
Remember, it's all alleged.
Alleged?
Yeah, ain't that some shit? And I ain't got nothing else on the dockets, man. I'm excited to. Next week we're gonna talk about quarter point of the season. That we're gonna see who the pretenders and who's the contenders.
Oh man!
But this is a light one, and I know we got some more news coming up. Obviously, I think we'll be able to. I think we'll have a little bit more information on this whole Antonio Brown because I want to look at it. I think we need to take a dive, try to take a dive into the football side of it, and maybe what could have been, I guess, because I'm lost on Antonio Brown.
What could have been what?
I mean,
the dude had 100 catches a year, 1,500 yards. What do you mean? What could have been?
Hey, his shit over. You think I think his career is over.
Oh yeah, it's over.
It's still teams talking about they would be willing to sign him, but I mean,
it's over. It's over. He's out of there. But, I mean, we had enough. I mean, we ain't got to even say what could have been. I mean, he was Antonio Brown. He was a great receiver. We saw a large sample. I mean, he's been the best receiver in the NFL for the past 7 years. I mean, what else?
Okay, so I got a quick question for y'all real quick. So do y'all think he will be able to be considered as to be a Hall of Famer?
No. Hell no.
All right. I didn't know if y'all was gonna be like yes or no.
Nah.
Nope.
No jacket for you.
No
jacket for you.
I mean, shit, Obama won. You know that motherfucker.
He probably would too. I would have
got my own go. That motherfucker have his own ceremony, man. I kid you not, man. He's crazy.
Hey, bro, go to the XFL. Boom, there you go. You know what I'm saying? And it's all been settled. You know what I'm saying? By your boys over here at the Unofficial Referees. Antonio Brown gonna be in the XFL making plays.
What the back of his jersey gonna say? Nut on her back. That's gonna be his nickname.
So, say benefits on the bag.
Every time we catch his touchdown, splash.
Right.
It's over for that guy. It's over for that guy. And one thing I do want to, I did miss that. Old boy Carcino was talking about it today, man. I didn't even think of it, man. You know, the NBA season's coming up in a month.
Mm-hmm.
We realized, man, Houston, Mike D'Antoni and Russell Westbrook might be a hell of a combo. You ever thought about that? Huh?
Combo.
Let me say
interested.
it again. Mike D'Antoni and Russell Westbrook might be a hell of a combo.
That's a double-edged sword if you think about it.
Like a Taco Bell combo.
I'm about to be going to the bathroom after this.
Right. Well, why is it a double-edged sword?
Because, bro, all offense, no defense. And then
What do you mean?
That's all they doing is all offense.
What do you mean? Westbrook don't play defense?
He's not the best defender. Nor James Harden.
He's a good defender. Russell Westbrook.
He's a good off-the-ball defender. He's not a good on-the-ball defender.
You talking about somebody 6'5", quick. He disrupts shit. He can disrupt shit on defense.
He has every ability to. I haven't seen it though the last couple of years.
Because he's offense.
He's a disruptor. I will
say that. Can you say he's an upgrade from Chris Paul on the defensive side of the ball?
Yeah. No. Chris Paul had that quickness where he could poke the ball out real quick. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if Russell has that.
From Chris Paul. At all.
Huh?
At all. I don't think he's an upgrade at all from Chris Paul. Matter of fact, I have a hard time seeing how it's gonna work with he and James Harden. I really do.
I'm still trying to figure that out too.
Westbrook is an upgrade. Now, if we're talking about, which this is something that a lot of guys in the league struggle with, is because of the rules and different things, it's perimeter defense. Mm-hmm. Him getting torn up. Now, his problem was offensively last year. He wasn't really that efficient. But, perimeter defense, he's getting dotted by Lillard. I mean, you can't do nothing about a nigga shooting 50-foot 3-point, shooting by the half court line. But no, man, I think he's a good defender. He's a good defender. He can disrupt. You try to take it in on him. You're not just gonna run. You're not just gonna get past Russell Westbrook. I'll tell you that much right now. You're not just gonna get past him.
And I see by no stretch of the imagination do I disagree with the notion of what he can be, but what is he? I think is the question. I mean, I have no doubts about his ability, but if you look at him last year, he was not a good on the ball defender. Off the ball, he was great, but on the ball, he wasn't a great defender.
Let's look at him offensively. And his speed, the way he'll be able to penetrate. You got the guys, the 3-point shooting of the Houston Rockets. You definitely have Truck Tucker. Of course, like I said, Rockets won't. You still got Capella. You got Truck Tucker. So those are huge defensive anchors right there. Don't they have Manimal? Don't they have Manimal? They got three.
I don't know if he's still on there.
You come back.
He got Austin. They got Austin Rivers too, but that's awesome. Yeah.
Coach's son.
Shout out to the Red Bones.
Coach to the Red Bones. Coach's son.
I'd love for him to prove me wrong, but I just don't see him in James Harden working. I just don't see it.
Yeah.
I don't see him being a good enough shooter for that to work. Is really
consistent shooter.
Is really where my issue lies in chemistry.
But the thing is it's just something to look at. I mean, because of the speed out there, Tony, It'll definitely help him fast break for the D'Antoni. That's how D'Antoni likes to run. But
yeah, absolutely.
Even on spread and opening up the offense, I think because of how Houston shoots. And don't forget, you got of course Eric Gordon. Because of the weapons that they got, you don't believe that'll open up the lane for Russell Westbrook. And like I said, this is a strategy a lot of the guys use in the NBA. It's a simple strategy: take it to the lane, have shooters, and kick out. That's what Westbrook. That's what he simply does. But you're talking about one of the most explosive players in NBA history.
Russell Westbrook, in my opinion, is extremely disrespected as far as his skill set's concerned.
No, he's not disrespected.
Absolutely.
No, you gotta be critical. You gotta be critical of him. His triple double. That's a outstanding feat. That's something
overrated.
So just some nobody can't just come along and get a triple double. But at the same time, I do believe that at times he sacrifices what's better for the team for those consistent triple doubles. You know what I'm saying? But
yeah.
So same with LeBrick over in LA. Same with LeBrick over in LA. I think those guys like Kobe, MJ, man, those guys could have averaged triple doubles too, if they wanted to play their way. But you got to play within the offense. Get your other guys, going. Let them feel what the ball is. But these guys are ball guys like LeBron James and Russell Westbrook are ball dominant. That's one thing that a lot of people call Kobe and Michael Jordan and that's just far from the truth. Now, there's not a shot that they don't like, but they're not ball dominant. Remember Derek Fisher, those guys like Derek Fisher's, the Ron Harpers, the Scottie Pippens. These were the guys bringing the ball up the court. It wasn't Kobe. It wasn't Mike. Kobe and Mike were playing off ball. If they did bring the ball up the court, they'll kick it and then they'll move around, get to their positions. They want the ball back, give them the damn ball in their position so they can do what they do. And they scored at a high rate. They weren't just volume shooters. They were efficient. Both efficient shooters also. That's why they're some of the greatest players ever. But guys like LeBron and Russell Westbrook, they need the ball. They need to be carrying the ball down court so they can decide, do I want to put, so I can try to get my 28 points, you know what I'm saying, or get my assist. They're ball dominant players.
So does James Harden, but yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah.
All right.
I think James Harden is more. James Harden opens up the offense though more. You know what I'm saying? He has more because of his shooting ability. But yeah, you can say that too. Like I said, he's been getting a lot of triple doubles. A lot of guys are doing this nowadays. Just being more ball dominant. So that I don't think Westbrook has been judged unfairly. I think the criticism of him, I think it's been pretty valid. I mean, and you see it in the results that you got from the team. I mean, these past couple of years.
I don't disagree with the criticism. What I disagree is the fact that people say that he's not. There's people out there that say he's no longer a great player. That's what I disagree with.
Oh no, that's bullshit. He's an outstanding player.
Yeah, that's what I disagree with. The criticism.
Like I said, he's the most explosive NBA player in history. NBA history. The most explosive player.
Yeah, it was Derrick Rose once upon a time.
That can stay explosive through 48 minutes. Now it may work against you. It may work against you like in the finals, you know what I'm saying? But he gonna give you his all. You know what I'm saying? He's gonna you're gonna have to deal with him. He's an explosive player.
I agree.
I could be wrong, but it's hard thinking of, like I said, the most explosive player. I've never seen anything like. I've never seen anything like Russell Westbrook.
We're gonna talk about that next week. I want to think on it.
Yeah. I mean, but you did. All right, fuck it. We'll talk about it next week. All right, so who wants to end it off? Who wants to end the show off?
Go ahead, take us home, big dog.
All right. So, man, this has been another episode of the Unofficial Referees, man. Thank you guys for all listening. If you guys want to get a hold of any of us, man, the link tree is in the description below. Well, all the links will be for the Grit Sports Media, Lojo Speaks, Word on the Ad podcast. All those Facebook links will be in the links in the description below, man. Just hit us up. Let us know what you think, man. And we'll see y'all next Monday, man. Peace. Oh, shout out to both my brothers for pulling up. And, you know what I'm saying? Always pulling up A-Mike and doing great things and throwing these flagrant flags. I'm still tripping off of that Christmas thing. That was a good one. That was a good one.
Hey man, that do my jingles too.
And with all that being said, man, we out. Peace.